Grafton Democratic Town Committee. Let's give them a hand for putting this together. I want to thank all of you for being here today, because you're what's going to save us, and you give me hope. And that you're out here on a Saturday, on this chilly day, because you care about politics and you care about this country, I think is inspiring. Let me also making sure everybody understands we need to vote yes on question 1, yes on question 2, and yes on question 3. I want to thank our nurses for being here. Now, question 1 is about patient safety. That's all you need to know. That's all people need to know when they ask about it. It's about patient safety. And if you're like me and you come from a family of patients, it's important. I want to make sure that we have enough nurses to take care of people when they get sick. Look, I don't even know where to begin, because there's so much that bothers me about what is happening in this country right now. And so much of what we as Democrats have fought for and what we care about is at stake. Make no mistake, these are the most consequential elections of our lifetime. I'm not exaggerating, it is just a fact. You know, if you care about health care, you got to get out and vote. You know, the Affordable Care Act isn't perfect, but it provided essential benefits protections for people. So, for example, if you have a pre-existing condition, insurance companies can no longer discriminate against you and deny you coverage or charge you more. That is because of the Affordable Care Act. You know, before the Affordable Care Act, a pre-existing condition could be that you were a woman. In some states, because you were a woman, you had a pre-existing condition. You know, what the Republicans have been trying to do for the last several years, and what they will do if they maintain control of the House and the Senate, is they will take away your health care protections. It is that simple. So if you right now have insurance and you have a pre-existing condition, you know, and a year from now, if things don't change, you may not have your insurance. If you are worried about the high cost of prescription drugs, Republicans aren't going to fight to lower your prescription drug costs, because they're in the back pockets of pharma. Which is why we need to figure out a way to get money out of politics. Why we need campaign finance reform. Why we need to overturn Citizens United. Because money is polluting our political system. Yeah. If you care about the environment, you need to vote for Democrats in this election. Donald Trump took us out of the Paris Climate Accord, which is one of the most insane things that anybody could possibly do, because every scientist in the world is telling us that climate change is real. And if we don't do something soon, it will be too late. It won't matter what we do. You know, I mean, sometimes I feel like I need to send some of my colleagues back to elementary school and take science class again. Science is real. We ought to respect what our scientists are telling us. I was telling people yesterday, I spent the day kind of crisscrossing my district. I was in Worcester, then I went up to Greenfield, then I was in Orange, I was in Athol, went back to Greenfield, came back. I felt like I needed a chiropractor when I got back home last night, because the roads are so filled with potholes and cracks and bumps and, I mean, you name it. We ought to pass an infrastructure bill to rebuild our country and put people back to work. We have bridges in Massachusetts that are older than most of the other states in the country. We ought to have the finest railway system in the world in this country. And how do we fund it? Well, here's an idea. Rather than lower corporate taxes, as Trump did, from 37% to 21%, maybe you lower them just a little bit. And you take all that other money and you invest it in things like infrastructure. You invest it in our healthcare system. You invest it, you know, in dealing with climate change. You invested in combating this terrible opiate crisis. You know, we can solve problems. And we have the resources and the wealth to be able to do it if we have the political will. And unfortunately, with the people in control of our government right now, the Republicans have a monopoly on our government. They control the White House, they control the House, they control the Senate, and unfortunately now they control the Supreme Court. But when they come up and complain that things aren't going the way they want to, they control everything. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They control everything. We need to end this monopoly, and we need to be a check on this president who is out of control. Yep. I've been saying this all over, all during this campaign because I think this is really important. There are a lot of issues on the ballot on November 6th, and they're all important, and they all matter to everybody here. But there's another issue that is also on the ballot on November 6th, and that is decency. We need to reclaim decency in our politics. I get it. There are Democrats and Republicans. We have differences of opinion. I get that. But what's happening in Washington right now is indecent. When a president doesn't think twice about insulting women, when he calls for his opponents to be locked up, when you think he can't go any lower, he goes lower. John McCain and I didn't agree on a lot of things. We did work together on a number of bills. But even though I didn't agree with his politics, he was a decent, honorable man who served this country. And when he died, this president didn't want to lower the flag to half-mast at the White House until the American Legion and the VFW had to shame him to doing that. Who thinks like that? Yeah. It so diminishes our politics. It creates this polarization that really we need a president who's going to unite us. Not a president who retweets white supremacists and anti-Semites, who defends the bigots in Charlottesville. We need a president who, in Lincoln's words, appeals to the better angels of our nature. And we're not getting it with him. And on top of all of that, I think some of the things that are happening in this White House right now are criminal. Yep. I believe this White House is in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. He's making money off the presidency. He has a hotel right down the street from the White House. Every tin-horn dictator in the world, when they visit Washington, they go to that hotel. They pay top dollar at that hotel. They do banquets at that hotel to make President Trump happy to win his favor. That's corruption. And look at his cabinet. People, you get members of his cabinet spending, $30,000 on a dining room table, and all this extravagance. It has to end. So I will tell you that when you talk to people, when you're going around door to door, when you're in coffee shops or at family functions, even people who don't always vote with us, you need to remind them what's at stake in terms of civility and decency. Our politics should be good and clean and decent and honorable, because we want good people to run at every level. We want people to feel this is important. And we want our politics to be aimed at solving problems, not creating divisions in this country. And I just will say in conclusion that the most powerful way to persuade voters is one-on-one contact. There's ads, and there's radio ads, and there's TV ads, and Facebook ads, and there's direct mail and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that all has an impact. But nothing has the impact of you talking to somebody one-on-one. I tell people all the time, when I first ran for Congress, many of you were, some of you were, a few of you were there back then. I remember after I won an election, which I was supposed to lose, I was in a supermarket, and a woman came up to me and she said, I voted for you in the election. I said, well, thank you very much. She said, well, aren't you going to ask me why? I said, okay, why? And I was kind of hoping she'd say, because you just, you gave a speech that really, inspired me. She said, I'm going to tell you why, because one day, somebody knocked on my door. It was a damp, chilly day. A young woman knocked on my door, and she came to talk about the Clean Water Act and about how important it is that we have laws that protect the quality of our water, and how we have laws that protect our environment and our air. And she went on and on and on about how important it was, and that is why she was out there supporting Jim McGovern. And she said, I thought to myself, if that young woman thought it was that important to come out on a chilly night and talk to me about that, I have to pay attention to this election. And she says, and I did, and I voted for you. So it wasn't me that won that vote, it was the person who knocked on her door. And I think that is where the power of Democrats are, here in Grafton and all across the state and all